clearing out the waiting room. So as people are joining, we have been giving a friendly reminder to all the TACs, just any voting members must be on camera while voting. And we are also encouraging everybody to try not to talk over each other. Raise your hand if you have questions. In some of the meetings, the reporters are having a hard time capturing everything when questions are going back and forth. So just a couple friendly reminders. We have cleared the waiting room, Steve. I have yourself, Brandon, Adrian, Van, Casey, and Kristen logged in. Did I miss anyone?
That is who I have. Because Casey now is replacing Evan, right?
Yes, he should be on
Yes.
the call too, I think.
Okay. So that gets us to 6, which is not a quorum.
Nope, you need one more.
All right. Maybe we'll get there. All right. You have the agenda in front of you. We'll hold off action. But just so again, this is the persons returning to society from incarceration TAC, the TAC with the longest name. I just call it the reentry TAC. But anyway, so that's what we're, so that's today's topic. Sent the agenda out. I don't know if I sent the minutes this morning. I apologize for that. We do not have a quorum yet. Hopefully that does happen and we get to that point. So we can't do the minutes as of yet. But what about a DMS update?
Hi, good morning. This is Leanne Fitzpatrick.
Oh, sorry, Leanne. I was just going to say, it looks like Kevin is joining. If you want to establish your quorum in just a moment, he's joining now. Sorry, Leanne, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay. Do you want to go and do the quorum first, Steve?
Yes, I do.
It looks like he's joining. So if you give it just a second, he should be logging in.
Also, I have Angie's going to log in as well.
Okay, it looks like he's logged in, Steve. So just again, friendly reminder, all voting members have your camera on. And I will turn it back over to you, Steve. Sorry about that.
All right, very good. All right, so minutes. And the minutes I present are always when I report to the MAC. We get the transcript. That's a much longer document, obviously. And so I just summarized what we did and put that in the minutes. So I will entertain a motion to adopt the minutes.
So moved.
Van Ingram, we have a second.
I'll second. Kristen.
Thank you, Kristen. Should I get all those right? All in favor, signal by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed and extensions. All right. Those were adopted. There we go. That's
all right. Hey, Steve, but before we go much further, I wanted to clarify one thing about the membership for this. As I mentioned following our last meeting, I'm shifting roles somewhat here within Apple Red Legal Aid, and I'm now our director went over to Legal Aid at the Bluegrass, and I'm serving as the interim director while we hire our permanent person, which I'll be quick to add will not be me. And after I've had a taste of the interim duties, I'm very glad I did not apply for the permanent job. It is just it's a special person who can do that, and it's not me. I look forward to going back to doing more courtroom stuff. But what I had mentioned to Steve, and I think Kelly as well, is that I thought that a good replacement for me to fill the legal aid seat that the legislature put on this TAC would be my coworker Casey, who's been able to join a lot of these meetings. Her work is really more directly related to many of these topics even than mine is, and so I'm not sure if we need any type of motion or formal process to basically switch her for me, but I think it makes sense for her to be the voting member rather than me going forward.
Aaron, help me with this, but my recommendation is for Evan, you to submit something to Aaron in writing.
Yeah, so if she is appointed by the association, which I believe she would be, I'd have to pull the statute, but I'm fairly certain that is the association would just send something, you could just send something over to me in writing, just stating that she would be the new member moving forward. I have her listed as a new member, so I just assumed all that happened in March while I was out. But if you don't mind to just put that in writing.
Yeah, I'll
And-
pass along the emails from March. Again, I wasn't sure if those emails were sufficient or we needed to really do something on the record here, but I'll pass those along and we will, but is there anything else that, again, I just want to make sure that we've got quorum and voting members for these business.
Yeah.
Should I hang on for a little bit longer today? Or is Casey already good?
Well, if there were emails sent to Kelly while I was out, I'm sure she copied me on that and I have them in your all's file folder tucked away. So as long that's fine. We counted her as a voting member. So
Great.
you're welcome to stay, of course. But if you have other things you need to do, that's, completely understandable.
Well, thank you very much. I've really enjoyed getting to meet many of you through this process, and this is important work, and I look forward to CMS making the progress so that we can really implement this in the state.
Yes.
And again, I'll hope to be back eventually.
All right.
Thanks, Evan.
Thanks, Evan. Take care.
What I'm looking for is one of the sun reflectors that you put.
There you go. All right.
Mhm.
All right, Leanne. Now can we get,
Okay,
thanks for the update. I mean, thanks for the minutes of approval. So, and welcome, Casey.
hi, Leslie is out today for attending Mental Health Awareness Month activity. And I'm going to just present to you our numbers, and there's a couple more updates. Currently, as of Monday, this past Monday, there's 1,728,605 enrolled. Incarcerated members has gone down. It's 19,525 that's incarcerated. And through the reentry program with the two facilities of KSR and KICW, we are looking at continuing at less than 4 days, with benefits being reinstated once the individual is released. With those two facilities, the meetings with DOC, MCOs, our connectors, DCBS, all those partners with reentry, those meetings have been reinstated again. We met this month, and I believe they're going to meet quarterly to continue this process and hopefully add more facilities. So please, I think Kristen Porter I saw in here, so please correct me if I'm not stating everything correctly, but those meetings will continue. I'm not the lead person for the program. I think we're just kind of actually Marty Johnson with the DOC has taken that lead role. So those meetings have been reinstated quarterly. And then we're discussing processes, and there might be some sub meetings from that committee as well. We have been in discussions and continued discussions with CMS around the incarceration amendment that we submitted almost 3 years ago. As you know, as California has received permission from CMS to go ahead with theirs. And there is that, I see you have the guidance letter from CMS.
Yeah.
We've met with DOC, we've met with Department of Behavioral Health and discussions about what that means, that we do have to update our amendment that we sent in. So I have one of my team members, Kristen Sawyer, on if she would like to add anything. And if I'll open up the floor for questions now.
I
don't
just,
have anything to add about the
add on to
incarceration.
what Leanne said there. We're gonna have to make significant changes to our original 1115 for incarceration amendment. And so this is gonna take some time, and it's gonna take a lot of work for Medicaid and DOC, but we're gonna get there. But it
Correct.
is significantly much different than what we had originally proposed. Am I saying that fairly, Leanne?
Yes, that was it. You hit it.
Yeah, Yeah,
And we're working, hoping to getting that done by the end of the year. But our overarching 1115 SUD that has to be renewed this fall has not been approved yet either. So we're just keeping our fingers crossed.
Yeah,
And
what we had envisioned and what California did is completely two different things.
Completely different, correct. The issue with things that have not been approved yet, the CMS said that they have been inundated with 1115 applications and SPA updates. So they are working fearlessly to get all those taken care of. So no, we've never heard a no. So we're just going to keep on trucking.
one, and I don't think you can answer this question, Leanne, so I probably shouldn't ask it.
Okay.
Does this drop us down in the hopper a lot? I mean, that's my concern. That, I mean, I read the guidance letter, and there's a lot of stuff in there. I didn't know how it lined up, but it sounds like what we submitted isn't what the guidance letter was. And therefore you all have a lot of work to do, and I'm sure we'd love to partner with you some way, but a lot of work to do by, to get that resubmitted. But is that going to move us down the list for approval? Because wasn't ours one of the first ones in?
It was the first one.
It was, yeah.
It was the first one. I don't think that's the case. I think that they are trying, since we do have that overarching SUD one that's due this fall, I think they're trying to work together to get all of our applications done at once. But we are meeting with them, I think, bi-weekly, doing some TA sessions with them, with CMS. We have questions for them to answer, for us to keep working on. And Angela Sparrow is going to be heading that. And definitely we will be reaching out for any type of assistance that we feel like we need. And I know that we have your support and willingness to help us along the way.
Yeah. Okay. I was wondering. Have TAC members seen that letter?
I've
Yeah.
not.
I guess I can find, could you, Leanne, do you have a accessible copy that you could send, or I'll try to dig it out?
Yes, I do have it, and I'll send that.
Yeah, mine's all marked up. I mean, it was. So, and a lot of stuff in there, presumptive eligibility and all sorts of things that.
Right. It's just not behavioral health department with the
No, it's
EMS.
not.
It's
Physical health as
IT
well.
and
Yeah.
eligibility, and yes.
Now, this is a kind of down in the weeds question. Oh, the incarcerated numbers.
Yes, I will. I'll put that in the
Okay.
chat.
Thank you, Leanne.
I sure will.
The 1115 amendment that was submitted that did the IMD to 30 days, incidental disease to 30 days, and created the the respite, the medical respite. Would folks coming out of a DOC facility be eligible for medical respite if appropriate?
That is a good question.
I know, I'm not sure, honestly.
So if they're coming out of a DOC facility, do they have a residence, or are they?
They do. I'm sorry, I'm trying to work this off my phone, so I know me.
No, I
and
know
meeting
you're.
it's hard today. They do. So they've got an established placement, but I wonder, is there any definition of residence like on there? Does a halfway house count too? Like of course we release some people, they go straight to a home, an actual home, but then we do release people that go to a halfway house as well, or a temporary living site too. So I would be curious as to if that would be sufficient as well. Because on the DOC side, we say, of course, we've investigated this and we have approved this home placement because that's where they're going to live for now. But I would just wonder how permanent it has to be for it to count.
Okay, I have to take that back because I'm not sure of that answer.
Yeah.
And our team meets tomorrow, so I'll bring this up and then I'll send the answer on through tomorrow. I don't want to answer it and give you incorrect answer.
Yeah. I mean, I as I was reading it, I was wondering if those two things would ever interface. And there is Also it's kind of interesting that if someone's incarcerated and goes to the hospital, Medicaid can now pay for that. Is that brand new?
So if someone's incarcerated and they go to the hospital, Medicaid will kick in after 24 hours.
Okay,
That's always been in place, yes.
okay.
So if they just go to the hospital and they're not there for 24 hours, then the DOC medical
Mhm.
covers.
All right. So really, our 1115 that we've all been talking about since we first met is now kind of a start over.
That's fair.
So it's all right. It's all right. Someone had to be out there in front to get people's attention, and I guess Kentucky played that role, right?
Yeah.
Follow Daniel Boone in this area, so that's okay. I reference Daniel Boone as much as I can because I work for Daniel Boone Howard. That's true. So, all right. Anything else about the SUD waiver? I guess we'll hear more as you all continue working on it, maybe get some kind of update. I don't know when, September maybe, would give you plenty of time to do that instead of July. And we'll
We'll
send out,
give you updates as much as we can.
yeah. All right, and we'll get that guidance sent out to everybody, take a look at it. It's a lot of Medicaid language, right, Leanne?
Yes.
Should count as a foreign language. All right, MCO updates. Oh, my bad. Let's start with Anthem. No, Aetna, alphabetically.
Hey everyone, this is Courtney from Aetna. Sorry I'm not on camera today. Technological difficulties this morning, don't know why. So we have rejoined the group that Leanne was discussing before that it has gotten back together. And it's just really cool to see sort of like the growth and like how far we've come and just looking to, expand that program. Aetna has the Start Strong Reentry coordinator is back in place, and she's now going out to reentry resource fairs, and she's going to be out and about at like expungement places, just anywhere she can be where she can let people know about our program and things like that. So if there are reentry fairs and things going on in people's communities and you want people to come MCO to join, please let us know. We are getting back out and about, which is really great. We have not had a lot of referrals, but that's pretty normal from the prison project with Leanne's group. But we're hopeful that they'll continue to kick up. And there was one more thing. No, I think that's it, actually. No, I think that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Courtney. Appreciate it. Anthem.
Yeah, hello, Steve. Good morning. This is David Crowley with Anthem. Much to Courtney's points, very glad to be joining those meetings with everybody. And we do have our case manager that's designated for the reentry population engaged and ready to manage those referrals. Really low volume of referrals. Again, to Courtney's point, within the past 3 months or so. And we also have our community health workers or community engagement navigators with our empowerment team that are ready to help for the social determinants of health needs, rental arrears, utility arrears, things like that. So those are the Anthem updates thus far.
All right, appreciate it.
Yep.
And there's our data in the membership stuff. Appreciate that, Leanne, in the chat. Who's next on my big list? Humana.
Good morning, everyone. This is Kelly Bendorf with Humana. Some quick updates, just like Courtney and David gave. We also have had pretty low numbers regarding the reentry program. Actually, in The first quarter, we only had one release member. But so far in Q2, we've had 7. So we're really excited that we've been able to help some more members starting this quarter. I also wanted to give some great shout outs to the reentry coordinators. We have had a lot of amazing collaboration with these 7 members that were released in quarter 2. The reentry coordinators have been really responsive to us with our reentry liaison. And I also actually wanted to give a special thank you to reentry coordinator Carson Payne. As soon as we reached out to him, he helped us connect with that member right away. So it's been really helpful to have that collaboration. So thank you guys so much. One thing we have been seeing is we've kind of seen some enrollment movement with a couple of our members. Some of our members, I know I talked before, I think a couple of talks ago about we had a member who was released to us, but within a month changed her eligibility and enrollment changed to a different MCO, but we were able to keep her with Humana. I think Jadina Todd really helped us get that done. But we've seen a couple of our other members with the same kind of issue, and it's kind of worked both ways, where we've had a member that was released to a different MCO, but then came to us after a month. And then we've also had a member who was released to us, and then after a month went to a different MCO. So just not quite sure what's going on there. So I just wanted to bring it forward, but that's all we have for updates.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next on my PowerPoint list, and then Passport Molina.
Hi, this is Michelle Huglin
Hey,
With-
Michelle.
with Passport by Molina Healthcare. We've had several meetings with the DOC as far as the superintendents across the state. It's been wonderful. It's resulted in scheduled expungement reentry clinics that are going to be hosted. We actually have one next week where we will have the DOC there on site. We'll have 29 vendors as well that will provide resources as far as second chance employment and local resources that will help this population, and with the public defenders, with attorneys for those who may have expungement, and to explore that. So we have those already on the books and scheduled and promoted, and attendance will be great, so we can give an update on how those went. And that is all in addition to being on site at different resource fairs and reentry clinics and events across the state.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Any questions? All right, where are we at? United.
Hey, good morning, Steve. This is Stephanie Koenig with United. I'm not on camera either. For some reason, Zoom required an update, so can't get on. So I apologize, but I'm here and able to speak. Similar to what's already been reported out by Aetna and Anthem, our numbers have been low as well. I know that the auto assignment kind of ended for us in April, so we were able to see 2 were released this quarter. One was unable to contact, and 2 we were able to close. Really great news to hear from Passport and kind of that. I would also kind of piggyback off the fact that we were able to meet with DOC and DMS on Friday. So really looking forward to that. My question maybe to DOC is, from those individual MCO meetings, is the expectation of the kind of follow-ups going to be reported out in those quarterly meetings? I know that, United Healthcare did have some outstanding questions. It was really great to collaborate as well with the reentry coordinators, and looking forward to that continued partnership. I would say that with our Catalyst program, as well as addressing social determinants of need, that's continuously how we're doing our collaboration and participating in that pilot. So no additional updates since last quarter.
All right.
That's wonderful. I'll just say, excuse me, from the DOC side too, the answer is yes. We will definitely continue with those updates at either the quarterly meetings or even here too, and probably both. And I know that there is still, I think we still have a list of 3 or 4 different questions that we have received from MCOs that Christy is working on, trying to figure out what the answers are. And There's some modifications we had to do on our side. So I know that she is still working on some answers too for
Okay.
some of the outstanding questions. So
Perfect. I didn't know if to send another follow-up. I was kind of just waiting on that quarterly meeting. So
no,
good.
absolutely. And it never hurts to send a follow-up too, just to make sure it doesn't fall off of her radar or anything like that too. We are 100% okay with that. So, but yeah, we do plan on giving those updates. So thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Kirsten Porter, we appreciate DOC's partnership. So it's good stuff. All right, WellCare.
Hi, good morning. This is Paula McFall with WellCare. We have not had a lot of people re-entering. We do have quite a few in the jails. However, one thing we would like to do, we haven't really done this yet, but make sure that when we do connect with that member, that we have some SUD and behavioral health services to support them. I think these folks are such at high risk that that's one of the areas I'd like to maybe focus on, is maybe assign a case manager specific to this population, which we have not done. We are regionally based, and that's how we've managed these cases. So really that's kind of the plan, is to kind of try to get in front of them in terms of referrals for services.
All right. That's pretty significant progress we've made in the last 6 months. So it's the Medicaid TAC, but getting those groups together is a good thing. Good to see. All right. Round robin member updates, including any legislative updates.
Steve, from Office of Drug Control Policy, our biggest priority in this last session was the removal of fentanyl test strips under the definition of drug paraphernalia. On the very last day of the session, we were able to get that accomplished. And that was important to our work. Also, a recovery housing bill, House Bill 248, was passed. A lot of compromise went into that. I think we'll have to see over a period of 18 months to 2 years, if that bill needs to be tweaked, if it went too far or didn't go far enough. Since we've never really regulated recovery housing in the past, this is a new thing for us. A lot of work for the cabinet to make this happen.
And it's an industry that needs some.
It does, Steve.
Huge fan of regulatory oversight, but I think it does need some guardrails.
Yeah, I was resistant for a while because I didn't want good people to get out of it because we made it too complicated. But I think this bill strikes a pretty good balance of that. And we'll see how that works going on. Opioid Abatement Commission still continues to meet. We pushed out about $8 million in a first round of awards last week. And we'll continue. We've got a bunch of grants in the queue to review. And so that work will continue. A little over a week ago, I went through a reentry simulation with DOC. Really, I mean, I've been doing this a long time, but it was a really wake-up call for me, just how difficult it is for our folks leaving incarceration. I know Rob Perez at DV8 Kitchen is planning one at his place there in Lexington. I think it's the 18th. Is that right, Kristen? If you've not participated in a reentry simulation, I would really encourage you to contact Rob at rob@dv8kitchen.com and try to get involved with that. It's really, really worth your time if you've never sat through a reentry simulation to do that. Our recovery ready communities, we're going to meet tomorrow or Friday, tomorrow, and approve our first community as recovery ready, hopefully.
Really?
And we've got a lot of applications in the queue to review, but our first one is going to be tomorrow, so we're excited about that. And I'll leave it at that, Steve.
Thank you.
Steve, if it's okay, I'll go next to kind of couple with a couple things Van was saying. I was so happy to be able to host the reentry simulation for some of our cabinet members, and I was so happy Van was there. And also, just to say this is the first time we at DOC have ever been able to get this to happen, but we have, members, of course, of the Kentucky Pro Board and Pro Board Chair as well. And they all also participated in the reentry simulation, which was a great for them to be able to do that eye-opening experience too. So we do have the upcoming one. We've got several kind of scheduled across the state, but we do have the one next week at DV8 Kitchen. We would also be open if there was enough people that, is in this TAC group to find some sort of a centralized location as well, to host one just for the members of this TAC, if we think that would be helpful and beneficial as well. So that's something I'll say
Can
and
you
throw out
tell
there.
us a little bit about it? What happened and how long, or things like that?
Yes, absolutely. So the whole session from start to end is about a 2-hour session, of course, in person. It looks very similar to what you would picture like a college career fair, to where we have booths set up around the room, and participants are given a scenario at the beginning of the simulation to say, your name is this person, you've just spent this amount of time in prison. Here's what you're being released with. Here's what your conditions that the pro board or the courts have put on you. Go forth and see how successful you are. And so we do 4 different week intervals within that 2-hour period, to where, the first week you got to go and see what you can get done. And then you come back and check in with your parole officer. Sometimes you're doing good. In a lot of cases, you get sent to jail. We actually have a jail there, but it is very eye-opening to kind of see it all. The other aspect of it that I'll say is the people that we use to work the booths are all justice involved individuals. So at the end, we open it up for kind of some back and forth conversation from the participants on just how they felt with going through this, but also to hear from the justice involved population too, as to, yes, this is a simulation. Of course, it's the best we can really do to kind of paint the picture of what it's really like to be incarcerated and be released from incarceration, but it's real life every day for them, and some of the hurdles they go through. So it's definitely, like Van was saying, even if you worked with this population for a long time or in this field, it's an eye-opening experience for sure. So
Yeah. Person I
yeah.
know who has a history of substance abuse and been involved in corrections and such, got pulled over driving home from work, and he's has had a good job, he's doing well, all those right things, but he had an outstanding warrant from Boyle County, I think, or Mercer County.
Yeah.
And he was afraid he was going to end up back in, incarcerated for up to 3 years.
Absolutely.
And since he's done well, he got good letters of support, he said, he's all right. But it was just kind of interesting that,
our healthcare network team has been in place, right? And it's definitely a strength.
There you go. And it really was, it was almost a taillight, maybe a headlight or something insignificant coming home. And it was just ended up being really kind of, a really tense time for both he and his wife for 3, 4, 5 months as it went through the process.
Absolutely. There's so many things that we just don't think about. So I just wanted to throw that option out there as well. If we had enough people and people wanted to do that, we could do that. The other thing I'll say too, Van, I plan to get with you, probably shoot you an email later today or tomorrow on the new House Bill 248, because I have been asked to do a presentation at the upcoming Mental Health Summit in Louisville. And I am partnered with Jonathan Philpott from Behavioral Health, who has been tasked with the implementation of House Bill 248 from their side as well. So I definitely wanted to kind of have a conversation with you and get some feedback on that from, of course, our side of the fence and everything too, before I go into that. But I do think, looking at the agenda for that conference, it will be a great conference with a lot of good sessions. So it's the upcoming mental Kentucky Mental Health Summit, I think is what it's called in Louisville.
Yeah, it's part of the Judicial Commission on Mental Health.
Yes.
It's really been expanded to substance use and intellectual development disabilities, and it's pretty
Absolutely.
good. I think
But
it's
that's all-
May
that's all I have.
30th or whatever. It's the end of May, beginning of June.
Yes.
Those days. In
Yep,
Louisville,
that's-
and they're still, people can still sign up. It seems like a pretty good deal.
Thank you all.
Well, thank you, Kristen. Good report. Anybody else? Members?
So to report on the legal aids,
Yeah.
as Van was talking about the opioid abatement money, all the legal aids in the state received money in the first round of funding. Each of the 4 legal aids will receive $250,000 to implement my program. So my program is called Project Renew, and the focus is to help people who are either in reentry or at risk of going to jail or in recovery address their civil legal needs and any resources they need to be successful. So our program was the first in the state, but now each of the legal aids will have a program of some sort like that, and we plan to expand ours even further. I think that gets started in October is what Evan told me. So sometime around there, each legal aid should have some program in place to help people in reentry and recovery, whereas before that really wasn't a focus of any of the legal aids because of limitations from LSC funding. So we're all really excited about that.
I can tell you, Casey, that the commission was unanimous on wanting to fund your project.
Oh, it's great to hear.
I know it made, you know, we didn't have as much money as a lot of folks thought we did. I mean, yeah, there's $440 million, but it's over an 18-year period, you know, so we only have so much to spend each year. But y'all wrote a great application. Great.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations, Casey. And again, how much funding was that, Casey, that you got?
We each got $250,000.
All right.
So I think it'll run for 1 year, the funding cycle project, to see how it goes. I'm not quite sure how ours is going to be implemented because I'm funded differently than that. But it'll expand ours. So there will be another attorney in a different area than what I cover for our Apple Red program.
All right. Congrats. Good stuff. Any other TAC members? Updates?
Steve, I was going to ask Van, is there any updates on Senate Bill 90?
So yeah, we're going to meet next, I think, no, not next week, but the week after. We hope to be adding some county, Stephanie, at that time. We're getting our care navigators in place. I know it looks like we've been dragging our feet, but we really didn't have any funding until January when the settlement monies were delivered. And so we've been trying to get moving from that to get some people hired and get some things done there. But I think it's May the 24th. Let me check my calendar real quick. I think it's May the 24th. We meet again at AOC.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Angie's on a call as well. And she might have a little more to share than I have.
Adrian, did your ID bill pass?
Steve, you know the answer to that. Yes, the HB 21, which was a bill to streamline and reform the way people experiencing homelessness obtain a state-issued ID, did pass. Bill does a couple of things that might intersect with the work that some of these folks do. One is that it reduces the cost from $10 to $5. The ID still is valid for 1 year. It does allow 16 and 17-year-olds meeting the definition of homelessness to obtain a state-issued ID without parental consent. It allows service providers working with people experiencing homelessness to enter into billing arrangements with the transportation cabinet instead of having to cut a check here, there, everywhere. And then lastly, and this will go into effect later in 24, 25, it will allow people who had a driver's or operator's license prior to their episode of homelessness to be able to renew using the service provider's address. So they will still have the ability to legally drive, which I think we can all agree that is a good thing. So
that is a good thing.
It is a good thing. If we want people to legally work and legally do all sorts of things, that is a good thing.
Yeah, driving's a good solve to the transportation problem.
Right. So anyway, we are excited about this. We're set up to meet with the transportation cabinet folks in early July, and we'll probably be doing some like flow charts and probably a recorded webinar and stuff like that. Just as McKinney-Vento liaisons in schools and like college trio workers, and then of course homeless service providers as new staff come on. Like we need to make sure that people are taking advantage of this new legislation.
Yeah. How many years was that filed? Was the second time it was filed?
It was initially filed in, what year is it? We're in 23. It was initially filed in 21.
Yeah.
But that was the first, it was kind of like, we just wanted a bill to talk about and like get people used to the idea. And then we started working the bill hard in the 22 session and it almost passed then. It got through the House and had 2 readings in the Senate and ran out of time. And then this year, they made me a little bit nervous because it got through the House, got through the Senate, but then they didn't actually finally pass it until the last day of the session. Not that I was worried, it was fine. It passed unanimously in both chambers, but I was like, good grief.
Good for you. Congratulations. Yeah. And good for folks.
Yes, definitely.
Important. All right. Anyone else want to share anything? Right. Future agenda items. Someday someone may give me one. It'll be a dream come true for me. All right.
Steve, this is Courtney.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to give agenda items, the MCOs, the non-voting members?
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking. Maybe I'll have one for next time.
All right. I'm counting on you, Courtney. So
Steve, this is Michelle Hugon from Passport again.
Yeah.
You know, I mentioned as far as working with DOC on these reentry and expungement clinics. If anyone from the TAC would like to attend at any of our one-stop help centers, our first one next week is going to be May 16th in Covington. And I can send you or someone that I should send it to on this committee as far as the flyer.
You can send it to me.
Okay.
If you have my email, if not, Aaron, but me, shannon.carp@gmail.com.
And if you don't mind to copy me, this is Aaron Bickers. I'll
Yes.
send it out to the rest of the TAC.
Copy you, Aaron. Okay.
Yeah, yes, please. And I'll drop my email in the chat just in case you don't have it.
Okay. Fantastic.
All right. Anybody else have anything they want to share? There's Aaron's email address. All right, folks. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Y'all have a good day.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
See y'all.
Bye.
Thank you.